Okay, I mean it this time. And then Bob Goblin says, and what do bandits do? They take gold! Then Bob Goblin asks, you there, tree, give me all your gold! Then Bob Goblin asks, no gold, huh? Alright, well, give me all your rocks. Ha! Then Bob Goblin says, huh? And then Bob Goblin says, a horse! Perfect for Bandit Bob Goblin to make his getaway on. Yeah, horsey! Or when Lola says, okay, I gotta go. Then Lola asks, what's wrong? And then the little bird felt sad. And then Lola says, are you sad because you don't want me to leave? The little bird lands on her hands. And the little bird felt sad. And then Lola says, aw, you poor bird. I know you don't want me to leave, but I can't just leave you there. Or when Wally says, well, that was weird. And the just like that when Bob Goblin says, yeah, horsey. And then Bob Goblin climbs on the house. And then Bob Goblin says, whoa, what? Then Bob Goblin says, easy, horsey, easy. Aha! And then Bob Goblin says, you there, help Bandit Bob Goblin slow this horsey down so he can throw his lasso. Then Bob Goblin asks, use your finger to tap the lasso. Got it, easy, horsey. And he slows the house down. And then Wally says, there it is, Normal. Then Normal says, what? And then Wally says, Bob Goblin, what are you doing on my house? Then Normal said, yeah. And then Bob Goblin says, I'm Bandit Bob Goblin, and this is my horse. Then Wally asked Bob Goblin, and just like that when Wally says, Bob Goblin, it's my house. And then Bob Goblin says, nope, this is Bandit Bob's horse. His name is Horsey. Then Wally asks, well, your horsey, it's our housey. It's where Normal and I live. And then Normal said, yeah. And then Bob Goblin says, you can't live in a horse? That's so funny. Plus, can a house do this? Hey-ya! And then Bob Goblin says, Bandit Bob Goblin, and ran off. And then Normal said, oh no. Or when Wally says, hey Stan, you in there? Stan? And then Stan asks, I'm not here. Then Wally says, yes you are, we just saw you. Then Stan of the Swamp says, okay, what do you want? Then Pepper asks, this is so excited. I mean, here's your invitation, Mr. Swamp Monster. Anyways, gotta go. And then Stan asks, what does the invitation say? And then Wally asks, read it. And then Stan asks, to Stan from Marsha. I love my little sister. She's so sweet and kind and so small. Let me read it again. And then Marsha says, hi, Uncle Stan. I can't wait to play with you. Then Stan asks, oh no, this is horrible. Wally asks, what's wrong, Stan? Don't you want to see your niece? Stan asks, of course I do, but she's come to visit and she wants to play. I don't know how to play. Then Wally asks, no problem at all, Stan. We can teach you how to play. Then Stan asks, but how? Then Wally asks, well, I know you like mud. And then Stan asks, well, I only sit around here in my mud and read my newspaper. Then Wally asks, well, we can teach you how to play. Everyone loves to play. And then Wally asks, we'll teach you a fun place you like to play. The playground. Then Stan asks, what's the playground? And then Wally asks, you'll see. Follow me. And then Stan asks, I'll miss you, Mud. And then Wally says, see, the playground is a cool place. You get to swing, or go down the slide, or go on the monkey bars. Stan asks, monkey bars? I'm not a monkey. Wally asks, this is going to be harder than I thought. And then Wally says, I know, how about you could go down the slide? And then Stan asks, why do you keep saying woohoo? Then Wally asks, because going down the slide is so much fun. Try it, you'll love it. And then Stan of the Swamp says, huh? Then Stan asks, woo, who? And then Wally says, why aren't you sliding? Stan asks, swamp monsters are very sticky. And just like that, when Stan of the Swamp says, swamp monsters are very sticky, then Wally asks, okay, slide is not your thing. What else you like to play? Then Wally says, let me think. Then Wally says, I know, how about in the sandbox? And then Stan asks, a mud box will be better. Then Wally says, what are fun things you like to play in the sandbox? Like a truck. Does truck has the letter R in it? And then Wally says, yeah, truck. It starts with the letter T and a tr sound. It's a magic word. Twice. Then Wally asks, so let's make Stan a truck. And then Wally says, there you go, Stan. A nice truck to play with. And then Stan asks, well, I'll try. Then Wally asks, I'll get some too. Then Wally asks, hey Stan, you having fun playing with your truck? Stan asks, not really.